Welcome to Corrective Consciousness episode 274, the podcast where we explore the inanity of pop culture. I'm your host, vysethebold, and this is
Lotus Prince.
And we have another beautiful show here. It's not as wonderful, it's beautiful. We have the continuation of our discussion of the Tim Burton Batman series and its fallout and everything that inspired it, was inspired by it, rather. And we actually did talk about things that inspired it, so that is still accurate, even though I misspoke.
It turns out it was inspired by Batman.
Batman, based on Batman, by Batman. I mean, Bruce Timm. I mean, what?
Bruce Timm.
Paul Dini. But yeah, we have... We basically talked about the first film and how moody it was, and how kind of it was a departure from the contemporary Batman. It was a lot more violent at the time.
And he stays in his cave washing his tights.
But yeah, like he wasn't portrayed as a happy-go-lucky Batman, you know.
No.
He was very moody. He killed people, like in that movie.
Yeah, the movie opens with him just like blowing his way into a factory, and I think he took some people out doing that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like in the we haven't hit the second movie, but he straight up throws dynamite at somebody. So, but
yeah, the
like,
guy was like, he like strapped the dynamite to one of those clown thugs and like pushed him down a sewer, and then just a violent explosion. That guy was dead.
Like, especially at the end, he, like one of the main thugs that he fights, he like drops down a cathedral bell tower.
Oh, well, now we're back to the first movie, but yes, he absolutely
exactly.
killed that guy, and even the Joker.
And he kills the Joker too. I mean, come on.
Like, he doesn't, but he does. He
does. Yeah. he does. I mean, come on.
Drops some weight on him when he's trying to climb like a flimsy rope ladder.
He killed him on purpose. He absolutely killed him. I mean, to be fair, he's like Joker's trying to kill him, but
but like, I didn't think that Batman would hit a guy with glasses, and the Joker was banking on that too. That was like the funniest Joker joke in that movie. Like, wait, you wouldn't hit a guy with glasses? Like,
it was extremely well timed because
This is in the middle of him beating the shit out of him.
Batman has also been through a lot as well. Like, he is fucked up too by that point. So like he doesn't even he has no time for any bullshit, and Joker clearly is like getting the crap beaten out of him. He's going to be defeated, and he just straight up makes a joke.
That's something that really interests me, because it's like Heath Ledger had a lot of dark humor in his performance, but like this makes me think of the interrogation scene.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the interrogation scene's the only thing that comes close to that.
But even then, it had a different vibe where he was allowing himself to get his ass beat, and he's like, "Haha, Batman, you can beat me up all you want, but it won't get you what you need." That's the whole thing. But Jack Nicholson stopped the fight while he was getting his fucking face caved in to do
basically make himself laugh. It's a joke for no one.
Like, that's arguably crazier. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Heath Ledger, this was part of his master plan, but Jack Nicholson was just like, hold on, I'm gonna be funny for a second. Like, what?
He's literally getting his teeth punched the fuck out, and he spits out like
Heath Ledger had no problem making fucked up
toys.
Jokes like at inappropriate times, but like even he wasn't cracking jokes while getting his head caved in. Like, the closest it comes was the very first hit where he gets his head bashed on the table, and he's like, don't start with the head, it leaves the victims fuzzy. Like, that was part serious and kind of funny because you wouldn't think he'd be saying anything like that at the time, but Jack Nicholson just made a joke. What? You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, and he breaks out the pair of glasses he had on him just for such an occasion.
Yeah, and he also has like the chattering teeth too. And even after dying, like, that's a joke too. Like the laugh box,
the little thing of his, the little voice box thing.
We actually had one of those laugh boxes when I was a kid. But anyway, well, my cousin did anyway. But it is quite a grim movie, and I kind of like that it's almost it's in tone with the Batman Year One kind of thing. Like nobody knows who the fuck Batman is. Batman is a mystery to even the cops and everybody around. Some people don't think he even exists. He's a myth. He's a street legend at the moment at the time. So he doesn't get his bat signal until the end of the movie. The very
That's
end
true.
of the
Yeah, the
movie.
cops didn't know what to do with him because, like,
Yeah.
I guess he's helping us, but he's this weird monster man. who's just
Yeah, they thought he
punching
was a
people.
monster because he was so covert. But
And
I
yeah,
mean,
but
like,
that's the thing. He was covert, and when you do see him, you don't get a good look. You see a guy with like that strangely shaped cape. You're like, he's some mysterious shadow figure. This is the kind of thing that like scares little kids at night.
I also have to mention, I really enjoy the museum scene, the art museum scene. I think it's so of the time, but also like it's very idiosyncratic to begin with. Like,
What's interesting
it's just so good.
what's interesting is even if it's something you wouldn't want to do, I'd imagine people are like, what if somebody did this? Like, it's like Blues Brothers when they're driving
Yeah.
through the mall. What if you just fucked shit up? Like, here's somebody actually doing it. They're in a museum fucking spray painting stuff. They don't even care. Like, who does that?
Not only that, but it's basically a Prince music video while they're doing it.
By the way, I do also like that one creepy painting where he
yeah.
stops the thug. Wait, I like that one. That was
well,
great.
they also set up the fact that he believes himself to be a frustrated artist as well.
Yeah.
Like
My face on
on
the
several
$1 bill.
occasions. I think they're trying to allude to him being Hitler, like in a way. But
because he like
he's a frustrated
was
artist.
criticized in art school.
Yeah, exactly. So
Because his paintings, like, I mean, I've seen, like, people have thrown those around. I've seen some of, like, Hitler's paintings where it's, like, he has ability, but, like, perspective and shadows don't quite make sense. So if you look at it more closely, you're like, wait, that can't exist. And he got called out on that.
either didn't have the ability, or number one, or number two, just didn't practice enough. I mean,
Well, that's the
a
thing.
lot
He
of
was-
it's
he was-
practice.
he was able to produce objects, like, what he painted, like, the things looked good. But again, perspective and, like, shadows and, like, would a door make sense the way it's working in this picture? Like, it's like the details.
Yeah. But anyway, there are several points in the movie where his girlfriend, like Joker's girlfriend, he turns her into a grotesque art piece, like literally turns
was
her
that
into.
was that the TV commercial?
No. He brings his girlfriend to him with them to the museum, and he clearly like fucked her face up as an art piece.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
right. When
because
he
she's wearing a
shows
mask.
Batman's love interest, and she's like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, okay, I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, his girlfriend from the beginning of the movie turns into like his psychotic like art piece. Like
It's
he's
like that
abusing
guy
her.
from it's like what's his name from BioShock, who is just making art out of people.
Yeah, LaFontaine.
No, not Font. That guy was the big bad. The
Oh.
first, like, the creepy artist that, like, you can help, and in a shocking twist, he just thanks you when you can go.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Like, great job.
But yeah, like he for some reason Joker really appreciates art and wants to make it himself, which is like a small detail that you normally don't see about the Joker. Like in most portrayals of the Joker, he's just the fucking Joker. But
Yeah,
like,
he has bombastic set pieces, but not for art's sake, but for, like, a gag.
this is like a part of personality of the Joker that isn't explored, like a normal interest in something.
Yeah.
Which he's just the Joker, cartoonish Joker thing that he is. Even in the comics, he's just the Joker. Like he's not like he doesn't have any personality traits. He's just the Joker.
That's what I'm saying. He'll have
Yeah.
like giant, crazy, like, traps that are joke themed, but it's not for the art. It's for like furthering his identity as one who jokes.
Yeah, so like I think that's really interesting that they tried to give him a human element. That's a human element.
Well, and also even his voice, like he talks like Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Like he's Jack Nicholson who is dressed up as the Joker. He's not like woohoo. He's just like having a conversation. Like I just quoted this already, but like, what do you want? My face on the $1 bill. Like he's a crazy person, but he's talking like Jack Nicholson.
And he has that Jack Nicholson stare that is so iconic, of course.
Yeah.
But he. I really love everything about this movie. Every time I rewatch it, I'm like, especially when like the Christian Bale Batman era, the who are the brothers that make those movies?
Well, this was Christopher Nolan.
The Nolan brothers. I'm sorry.
Brothers? Wasn't it just Christopher Nolan? Are you thinking of like Coen brothers?
No. The Nolans. One usually produces and the other one directs.
Okay.
So like they work together on a lot of movies. They're a team. But yeah, the Nolan brothers usually. Well, when those movies popped up, a lot of people were criticizing like the 1989 film. I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I think that's a timeless movie. It just, it's of the time, it's of the era, but like it's also something completely unique. And it also changed the way movies were made at the time. And it was certainly a phenomenon. Like after that came out, I mean, they also did a lot of things with that movie that are still associated with Batman. Like the logo during that era, it was
that was a mainstay for a while.
Yeah, and you could still buy T-shirts with
on
it on
the
it.
toys. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that version of the Bat logo is probably the most iconic. I'm just gonna go out and say it.
And you mentioned this last week, but the Batmobile is way up there too.
Yeah, especially having the jet engine on the back of it is.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever entirely gone away.
Although actually, I forgot. Didn't the '60s one kind of have those little booster thing on it?
It didn't have a jet engine. It had like wings on the back. Like a spoiler kind of thing going on, but like it doesn't have a jet engine. I don't think. I don't think Adam West's Batmobile is like that.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. But
it's been a while since I've seen it.
And also, Danny Elfman's theme.
That is iconic.
So fucking iconic. So it's just one of those things. I think the fenders on the old Batmobile are like that, but I don't think there's any actual jet engine. I think that's a completely whole new thing that they
I was right. Like maybe it wasn't a jet engine, but '60s Batmobile had a little flame exhaust, like little like foom foom, like a little bit of it.
Yeah,
it wasn't full on like 100 miles an hour acceleration, but there was a little flame coming out of it, which stood out.
I guess that's a little exaggeration then. Like the Tim Burton one is an exaggeration of that.
Yeah, they pushed it harder. Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. I really just love everything about that. Now, I wanted to go over the marketing, like all the stuff that was marketing was heavily pushed towards kids, even though this movie, I would say this is like a straight up PG-13 PG-13 movie.
Well, there was a lot of stuff like that, like Alien toys, Terminator toys, RoboCop toy. Like RoboCop was a rated X movie.
Rambo also had like a cartoon. Yeah.
RoboCop had a cartoon too.
Yeah. RoboCop. Jeez. Yeah. I'm surprised Terminator didn't have a cartoon. I'm really surprised about that.
It had toys, but I don't think it had a cartoon.
It's never had any animation that I know of. But which is odd because it's the perfect thing to have an anime for. Like when you think about it, like all the things that have an anime adaptation, like Highlander even has an anime adaptation. Like Terminator would fit perfectly with that. But anyway, so would Alien, by the way. But it's just one of those things. Like there are so many video games based off of the original Batman movie. Like in particular, even after other Batman things came out after it, like Batman Returns, there were still things coming out based off of the original Batman. So you mentioned this before, but the on Reactive. But the NES Batman is probably at the top of the list because that game is as popular as it was back then. I think it is even more popular now. Like people really revere that game as one of the best action action platforming games of the era, and I think it deserves to be among
Yeah, the only
the
thing
Ninja
is
Gaidens and things like that.
well, the only thing is the final boss fight. You can exploit it, but that fight is bullshit.
It's the only way to beat it, as far as
Yeah.
I know. Because like I tried to beat it legit, and I don't think you can. It's that hard.
It's insane. Yeah.
You just need to punch him the fuck out. But yeah, I mean, what was really neat about that game? It was made by Sunsoft, who up until that point hadn't made much good. If I remember right, they were mostly known for garbage games at that point, like especially famous Kusoge, that is famous shitty games like Icky, I think is one of them, the farmer game where you throw coins at bandits. That's really terrible. Atlantis no Nazo, which is also a really terrible, like very simplistic, but like it's almost like Milon Secret Castle. Like the whole thing is like obscure and hard to figure out, and like in order to beat it, you need to fall down holes and bullshit you would never do on purpose, unless you had a guide. It's just one of those things, and then Sunsoft all of a sudden comes out with Batman, and it's really good. Like it fits the tone perfectly. The music is amazing. The music, the main theme during the first level is one of the best NES tracks in general. I love that song. Have you ever listened to that music?
It's been a very long time. I've seen the game speedrun, but like there's commentary over it, so I'm not really focusing on the music.
You should really just listen to the straight up listen to the soundtrack. Of course, it has like the Danny Elfman kind of stuff on the title, but like that song in particular, like all the music in that game is like stellar. So like I really think that's a fun game. The game is also very well known for having very obscure Batman villains in it. Firefly.
Especially at the time. He's pretty obscure now. Like maybe you've seen him in the Arkham games. Like, oh, that's a thing. But like
he's more
in the
well known
NES era. Like what?
He's more well known for being in that game than almost anything. Honestly,
yeah, because
he
like
shows up
boss.
once in the show. He shows up once in the show, and that's it. Like he is not the kind of character that pops up a lot. He's a pyromaniac guy with a jetpack and armor.
Yeah, I mean he's basically like old Mr. Freeze. He's guy with a fire or ice themed gun before like they got any kind of real personality.
Yeah, so I think he's the first boss.
Yeah, well that's what I'm saying. That's probably why people know who he is, because it's like, who's this weirdo who's not the Joker who's in my Batman game?
Yeah, I really think that this was just a really interesting game, and like there are several other bad guys in the game that are just like, who is this?
Yeah.
And then you finally get to Joker, of course, but like his main rogues gallery is not in this game other than Joker, which is really interesting. Like there's no signs of the Riddler or anything like that. Yeah, who's a Deadshot, who is more popular now. KG Beast, who was never popular.
I didn't even know he existed back then. I thought he was a 90s villain.
Maxi Zeus, who is mostly well known for being in the Batman Arkham Asylum book by Grant Morrison, who is extremely obscure except for that book by now. He is, a electric themed villain who thinks he's Zeus. Heatwave. Oh yeah, I guess that must have been Heatwave. Killer Moth. Yeah. Killer Moth. Jeez, and Firebug. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say Firebug.
Yeah, the main time I've seen Killer Moth was like in the Lego Batman games, where he was a joke because he's always flying near like streetlights and stuff like that.
Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention, Lotus, that one detail about the movie that you'll notice if you rewatch it is that Billy D. Williams plays Harvey Dent, who for
like a second.
as a cameo, but it's meant to foreshadow a possible sequel.
Two-Face. No, I remember that. Like he was like running for mayor or like re-running for mayor or something like that in the second one.
Yeah, and Billy D. Williams was very famous at the time because he was Lando, and he was also like just a smooth guy who was in a lot of commercials and stuff at the time too. Colt 45 in particular.
Yes.
Works every time. I don't know. But I guess at getting you to drink terrible malt liquor. But anyway, not that you can have really good malt liquor. I think it's just hand in hand. But anyway, it's like saying really good American cheese. It's American cheese.
Yeah.
But anyway, but he doesn't. Spoiler alert: Two-Face is not played by him in a sequel. Played by Tommy Lee Jones in one of the sequels, and
the Schumacher, the first one, Batman Forever.
Correct. But he does get a redemption later on. They do have him play Two-Face in Lego Batman
games.
Movie. Lego Batman
movie. That is pretty great. I like
with
stuff like
Will
that.
Arnett. Yeah, with Will Arnett.
They finally made it happen. Because I know we'll probably get to this later, but I've mentioned this before. But like I actually like Batman Forever, but my main complaint about Two-Face is that he was playing the Joker.
He's very manic. Yeah, he's very manic in it.
Well, actually, that's not even true. He's playing... I've mentioned this before, too. He's playing Frank Gorshin's The Riddler, except without riddles. And Jim Carrey as the Riddler is an absolutely brilliant idea, but Jim Carrey wasn't playing Frank Gorshin. Tommy Lee Jones was. Jim Carrey was playing Jim Carrey, who was wearing a Riddler outfit. So you have two Riddlers, except only one of them tells riddles. Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to Batman Forever eventually. I don't want to, but that's like a movie where you can either really love it or really hate it.
I like it fine, but I totally understand.
You have to embrace its campiness for sure.
And that was hard to pick up on at first because we're like, oh, a sequel to Batman Returns, like. What a mood shift that was.
Yeah, and Tim Burton has its own brand of camp, but it's not like that. It's more melodrama.
Yes, but the Penguin got a little silly. More ironically, sillier than the Joker.
That's what I mean. But we're not even getting to Batman Returns yet. But like, it has its comic booky, like that would never fucking happen in real life kind of shit going on.
Yeah.
And it's certainly an exaggeration of realism. So there is an element of camp to these movies, but it's dark camp, for sure. But I do want to go back to other adaptations, video game adaptations in particular. So do you know anything special about the Batman game for Game Boy?
No, I actually don't really know very much about any of the Batman games up until like the Arkham stuff.
So Batman for Game Boy was also made by Sunsoft, and usually what used to happen was they used to do like a port down. Like it was a similar game, maybe not the same game, but it would play very similarly, or it would be truncated in some way
or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or they would rearrange it, but it would be very goddamn similar.
Yeah, only two. Like I'm thinking because I was just reading Hardcore Gaming 101's beat 'em up guides, but I'm thinking like Streets of Rage 2 on the Game Gear, where it looks pretty close, but only like 3 characters can be on screen at once.
Exactly.
So it's like your character and 2 enemies. So beating a level takes forever.
No 2-player mode.
No 2-player mode, or else you'd have 1 fucking enemy on the screen.
Yeah, that's also another thing to point out is the absence of things. Like Batman has only one ally, as far as we are aware in this movie, and it's Alfred. That's the
thing. There is no Robin yet.
There is no Bat family as of right then. So he has no entourage. He has nothing. He just has himself. He doesn't even have like a Lucius Fox character or anything like that. He's just billionaire like weirdo Bruce Wayne, like collecting his own stuff.
And you know what I also appreciate, by the way, No, I mean, they kind of address an origin story, but there's no, like, getting to be Batman. Like, in the Nolan movie, you watch him learn how to be Batman, but in 89 Batman, you see the thug kill his parents, and then he became Batman. Like, he's Batman now. Like, he's just already doing his job.
He doesn't put on the suit or fall into the cave like he has in other adaptations.
Yeah, like in Christian Bale, he fell in a cave, got scared by bats. I know what I'm gonna do. Like, I'm gonna dress up as a
never does
ninja.
that.
Then I get the suit. Yeah, Michael Keaton just, like, we see what he was like as a kid. Like, oh my god, my parents died. I'm gonna do something about this. And then he's just Batman now.
Yeah.
Who's Batman? The guy you've been watching this whole time. He punches people at night.
Yeah, they don't delve into the psychology of why he chose bats or anything like that.
And remember, we're coming off of, like, it's been 20 years since there's, like, over 20 years since there's been Batman and, like, on TV or movies or whatever. Like, you might kind of have heard of Batman. Was he that guy from the TV show? But, like, they don't need to do an origin to explain who he is. Even in the 60s show, they don't do an origin.
No.
Like, I saw episode 1 where Bruce Wayne says, like, even my own parents were slain by dastardly criminals, which itself is kind of a funny line, but, like, that's it. He's Batman. It's fine.
Yeah, and there is a bit of a retcon. I mean, I spoiler alert, I guess, but, like, come on. This is a really fucking well-known movie with a spoiler that's talked about forever, so I'm going to talk about it. So the original story of Batman is that Joe Chill, who's just a random thug. Honestly, there's nothing special about him other than he inadvertently creates Batman.
It's like the guy who killed Uncle Ben. It's like it's some guy.
It's some guy.
And that's the whole point, is that it's some guy.
In fact, I kind of am upset that they even give him a name, because he shouldn't even have a fucking name.
It's really better if
he's just, like, a guy.
In Batman's case, happenstance. Bad things can happen. I won't let bad things happen anymore. Or in Spider-Man, be responsible. Nah. And then some punk does something. Like, fuck, I should have been responsible. It's not like the Green Goblin killed Uncle Ben. Like, some guy did, and that's the point. I gotta clean up the streets. So,
in this movie, they have Jack Napier, who is the Joker, like, as a low level street thug, be the slayer of his parents, which is I mean, not completely out of place, I guess, but, like, it's not what happened in the comics. It's a new interpretation of the creation of Batman, and I think this is the first time you ever see that. Now, later on in Batman Things, you have the possibility of not usually in mainstream continuity, but you have the possibility of Joker being involved with the slay of the Waynes, the Waynes being slayed. It's usually not like that, though. In the comics, it's not like that, but in the recent Joker movie, it's up for debate, I guess, because...
Well, that's another thing, is that, like, the 89 Batman movie is also different in that Batman is accidentally responsible for the creation of the Joker.
Yeah, and that's
in the other media, he's just like, Batman has all sorts of weird villains, and Joker's one of them, whatever.
Well, I mean, you have the Killing Joke, which has a similar...
from the 80s.
Well, so this is from the 80s, too.
Yeah, but I mean, like, usually, like, the Joker's just, like, one of the villains. He's a guy. What's his thing? He's a clown.
What I was going to say is Batman creating Joker is much more prevalent than Joker creating Batman. That is what I was going to say. But it's kind of cool that they did that for the movie, because that's neat. They created each other inadvertently.
Well, yeah, which they explicitly state. But what I also kind of like, though, is that this was an accident. Like, Batman didn't find Jack Napier and, I'm gonna get you. Like, this was just a routine mission where the guy who he dropped into the vat of acid or chemicals, like,
he actually tried to save him.
Yeah, like, Batman had no idea who that guy was. It happened to be the one who killed his parents. Batman didn't even recognize him. Didn't matter. Like, just, what are the odds? This is the guy. Scares the shit out of him, too.
Yep. But getting back to Batman, the Game Boy game. So you are a tiny little squat Batman in this, and you jump pretty high compared to, your height.
Yeah.
But you also, your main method of attack is straight up a pistol. It's pretty funny. Batman very seldomly has a gun. He only has a gun in the early 30s, and in Batman year 2, I think, in the comics. Later on in newer continuity, I think it's already been written out by Dark Victory. I think Dark Victory is supposed to be year 2 now, which is the sequel to Long Halloween. But yeah, it's, Batman generally just doesn't fucking have guns, in almost any continuity. He doesn't like them. They killed his parents. But yeah, you go around and you shoot people. And you hop around. It's a completely different game than the NES one, and it's still good, by the way. And then there's 2 more that I want to talk about. There is Batman for the Genesis, which came out way later, I think in 91 or 92, which is almost in time for Batman Returns, which is 92. So that one is okay. It's another Sunsoft game, and it's not the same game, which is... They made 4 separate games, actually. It's another kind of... It's more of a platformer. It has less emphasis on combat than the other ones. A lot of it's traversal, and it's not as good as the NES game, unfortunately. The NES game just has this flow to it. Like, the action is just really good. Sunsoft made some really good games in the last half of its Famicom like the Famicom days, and then dropped off during the 16-bit era. Like, almost all their 16-bit stuff is terrible. I can't pick out a good Sunsoft game from that era. I mean, you have, from the NES days, you have like Blaster Master, you have Batman, you have Gimmick, what's the other one? Euphoria. That's really awesome. Trip World. Like, you have all these really great inventive Sunsoft games, and then they and I'm also forgetting Journey to Silius. That's a good one. Fester's Quest does not count. It's not good. But yeah. And then Sunsoft made one more, Lotus. Do you know for what platform?
Sunset Riders.
That's not a platform. That is a Konami game.
That's a Sunsoft because it has sunset.
He's saying that because on camera I'm wearing a Sunset Riders t-shirt, and that's the only thing Lotus sees.
Actually, I to be perfectly honest, I wasn't even paying attention to that. I was actually thinking like sunset.
Well, maybe it's like one of those things that crept into your brain.
No, I hadn't even read the shirt. Like, it's mostly obscured by the like the hang up and the camera like buttons on Skype, but I can barely even see the logo.
That's hilarious. But yeah, they made a Batman game for the PC Engine only, not the US Jesus. TurboGrafx. So, what is cool about this is that they have a, even if you could believe it, better version of the Batman music that they had made for the NES game. But then when you start to play it, it is a completely different game. So this entire game, Lotus, is based off of the museum scene.
Oh my God.
The entire thing is based off of the museum scene. And it is a Bomberman-inspired game. If that makes sense. It's above, like an above view, kind of like a maze game, like Pac-Man or Bomberman. And you have to save the paintings in it and avoid the bad guys.
Huh.
Yeah, very odd. They could have just made another action game, but they decided to make a puzzle, like an overhead puzzle game, which is odd. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, there were lots and lots of toys. Lots of action figures from this era. People bought the Batmobile, all kinds of stuff like that. Lots of action figures. So what they ended up doing was they made like all kinds of different Batmen that didn't exist in the movie.
Yeah, like Scuba Batman or Jetpack Batman or whatever.
Yeah, Jetpack Batman. I remember Jetpack Batman.
Shooting the little missiles that knock over all those little ice cube-looking plastic blocks.
Yeah, because like you have to remember, he had no team. It was just him, so they had to come up with like different versions of Batman for you to buy.
Well, it's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, they're a team, but like there's 1,000 versions of each of them.
Yeah. I mean, and there was only one bad guy too. So
yeah.
I mean, I guess you could put out Bob. He's like the other like notable bad guy.
Bob Gunn.
Yeah, exactly. Like Commissioner Gordon is barely even a thing in that. It's like you're not gonna make him an action figure of him. He's like an old man in that. I guess you can have a Vicky Vale figure, maybe, but why would? But you know, gendered toys rarely even have the damsel, right? So, from that era, so most of the time you were buying things like vehicles, like they sold the Batwing, which was really cool. Neat. Yeah. And I mean, he did have those wonderful toys. So
why didn't somebody tell me he has one of those things?
Anything else about that original movie that we want to talk about, Lotus?
Oh, jeez.
Anything notable to mention about it? I think we covered a lot.
I think I'm probably good.
Okay, I'm good with that. Why don't we go ahead and move on to talking about we'll do fan stuff, and then next week we'll talk about Batman Returns, and you'll notice that we barely mentioned Batman the Animated Series. Batman the Animated Series actually comes out after Batman Returns, which so we're not quite to that point yet.
All right, so we have Vakafon says, my neighbor had a Boy and His Blob. We never finished it. And then, yes, Hot Wheels, Pogs, Pokemon cards, which are making a comeback these days, Crazy Bones, all this crap we used to collect that was worth so much money for so little.
Remember Tech Decks?
Yeah.
Like, people would just grind on people.
And I don't mean playing with them wasn't fun. I mean, like, it's a piece of cardboard. Like, somehow we as humans get attached so much to such weird concepts and things. We put so much value to certain things and not to others. Just look at crypto. Yeah.
Yeah.
School Filmer says, I did quite enjoy A Boy and His Blob on the Wii. It was cheaply priced and it was quite charming. Anyway, I've made a calendar with my drawings this year, and while the primary purpose was as Christmas gifts for friends and family, as well as selling some to those who are interested, it seems to have become popular in town, to the point where we ordered 50 calendars in total.
That's awesome.
Now I know, yeah, for real. Now I know how Bill Watterson feels. Thank God for the quantity discount and the 40% discount code stacking. No kidding.
Yeah.
Beware
Bill
the Ides of
Watterson.
March.
Oh man. Speaking of, I just like that Wario 64 guy on Twitter.
Yeah.
He posted that the Calvin and Hobbes collection, like the complete one in the hardcover, was only like $65. So I definitely jumped on that.
Speaking of that, like cheap ass gamer kind of stuff, they have like, you know how sometimes they have rumors about upcoming video game news.
Yeah.
They were like, rumor, candy is going to be free in a couple of weeks.
That's amazing.
It's great. Living Corpse has a couple comments. Bring back Joker's toys and gadgets. He had them because he fights Batman, a hero who uses gadgets. It makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Stupid extendo fist punchy gun, stuff like that.
Serious toys versus like murder toys.
Yeah, stupid but still kind of serious accidentally toys. Yeah. And then this is kind of a question, but I'm gonna more respond to his own answer for his own question. We hear of a fate worse than death, but what is a fate worse than the apocalypse? I'm going to say a never-ending war. I know some people say we already live in that world, but no, we have times of peace. War and peace come in cycles. I'm talking never-ending wars, a crap sack world like Warhammer 40k. No thanks. As scary as the apocalypse is, at least it ends, the suffering stops. Yeah, we don't really follow Warhammer much, but yeah, we're aware that that universe is one of the worst I've heard of.
Oh yeah, no, nobody's having a good time.
That universe is a piece of shit. Even the people who are kind of in more control than others are not enjoying themselves.
Yeah, precisely.
And then one other one. This is a weird one. Did you guys get any early scares this October? At the time I'm writing this, I was getting ready for bed when I heard this screaming and crying of someone in distress coming from the park at 4 a.m. I looked outside and I swear to you, fog was forming in the park before spreading out to the rest of the block, but I couldn't see the person. I called the cops and they told me someone had already called about the screaming. Never saw them, but they did leave the park to walk several blocks away, still screaming. Cops came eventually. I don't know if it was a prank or someone was having a meltdown or what. It's now a foggy day.
Jeez.
Yeah, so that's... No, I did not have that. Yeah. And then Stranga Game says, thank you for answering my question. Looking forward to playing Police Knots this weekend. I was in the same boat with the jingle in the Konami logo at the start of Metal Gear Solid. For years, I thought it was their official theme or something until I heard the theme for Police Knots. Yeah, it's like the real theme. And have you guys seen the eBay listings for Snatcher? Yes. Like, damn, that's expensive now. At least the Sega CD version. Yeah, ironically, every other version is pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's Japanese. Because it's not in English. So.
Yeah. P.S. Would love to see a replay from you guys of both Snatcher and Police Knots.
A replay, huh?
I don't know. I mean,
we have plenty. We have plenty to cover that we would rather.
Yeah, like I might cover like on my own clips of Snatcher or something that I wasn't able to cover the first time because of a different choice or whatever. But I'm not gonna let's play a game I've already done.
Yeah.
And then our question, School Filmer, are there any video game foods, meals you tried in real life? It doesn't have to be confined to just video games. Other media can be used. I don't know, like, most of what Sanji makes in One Piece looks friggin' delicious.
Yeah, you know what? I would really love to try... I saw somebody on Twitter do this, but they made, like, the Miyazaki meals. Like the iconic-looking, like, soba, like, that you see hit. Like, some of the food in Spirited Away just looks like fucking amazing. You know, it's just stuff that's like one of his hallmarks is that he has like really iconic and good looking food that like looks so good that even real food could never look that good.
Yeah, I'm also thinking general 90s and 2000s anime. Like this is more of a trope of that era. They don't do it so much anymore. But when they make a point of I've made this delicious food and it makes that little jingle that and it has like the food sparkles for some reason, but it always looks really good. Oh, also. Final Fantasy 15, I think, really made a point out of making their food look realistic and good. They like put like way too much effort into like modeling that food. That looks really good. Also, the Yakuza games, when you go to a restaurant and you buy food, it shows you pictures of them. And with each progressive, Yakuza game, it becomes more like photorealistic. It just looks delicious, man. Yeah. I'm not gonna mention a particular meal, just like the food, but man, it looks good.
I do enjoy cooking, so it's certainly something that I would like to look into. I know that certain like YouTube shows have been basically making like cocktails, like fake cocktails that they've made in TV shows. Like try to approximate what they were talking about in the show or the movie or the video game, like how to drink does that. That's pretty cool. I would enjoy that, but I think for this year what I'm going to do is I am going to host Thanksgiving for the first time. So I'll be making one of those wonderful turkeys that you find in a barrel every once in a while in Final Fight.
Where does he get all of those wonderful turkeys?
Barrel meat.
Did you ever
the Belmonts are coming. Hide
you
the
put the hand
roasts.
on the walls.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that fan art of Earthbound where Ness finds a burger in a trash can, which is a thing you can do in the game, and Ness is holding it up like, yes, and you see like all of his friends behind him like utterly disgusted. It's so good.
It is pretty funny that like the concept of just finding random food in trash cans.
Like Streets of Rage. Like you don't want to eat that. Are you kidding me?
That is where you find food in those games.
You knock over some. Yeah, like you said, there's some steel barrel or something.
Newspaper, maybe like a newspaper, like vending.
Yeah, and then
thing.
it's like presented like it's all cooked. Like on a plate, like,
and
what?
It's hot. Yeah, like it was just put there, like within
I guess
minutes.
I'll eat it.
Yeah, and it even has like those French little things that you put on like the feet
the
of
platter.
the turkey. No,
The silver
like
platter.
the feet of the turkey. You know, like those little white little caps that you put on the bones, like
That's great
to make it look fancy. Yeah.
Somebody made that and left it here.
Like, more than likely one of the villains, mind you.
Yeah, they're
the only ones out and about.
Yeah. Same goes for Final Fight. Like, they're trying to make a deal with the mayor and the capture's daughter to make it happen, but they're pretty good cooks. They leave their food around. It's fine.
Not only that, but they're more than likely abusing her. So, like, it's
but
crazy.
They made good turkey.
Ugh.
It's delicious.
One of them is named Sodom, and the other one's named Damned.
Yeah, I was going to mention, there's a bunch of biblical names. Sodom magically kept his name, like, not in U.S. Final Fight, but, like, as Street Fighter Alpha character.
Yeah. They didn't switch him back until after that, but he was called, Katana? Wasn't that his name?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that being his name. So.
And then they changed his personality to make him, like, an American who was just, like, a weeb.
A weeaboo, yeah.
That's exactly. Just his thing. And he's this fucked up sick thug from Final Fight.
Yeah, and he like wears he wears hockey pads. He's like clearly wearing football pads.
Yeah, which
is hilarious to me. But I've never really tried to make something, but like I guess that would be cool. I know that in Misadventures of Tron Bond, curry is definitely a thing that the surf bots are after. Like maybe that might be something I might want to try to emulate. So that would just be a fun experiment for sure. But you're not much of into cooking or anything like that, so probably not.
Not particularly.
Yeah, but
I mean, like if push comes to shove, like I'll do it, but it's not my thing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, I think we answered that one. Anything else, Lotus, before we wrap things up?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, well, that is the show for this week. We want to thank all of our fans who contributed questions. Please keep us supplied with awesome topics by submitting questions of your own via the YouTube and SoundCloud pages. We always need more. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Tuesdays on our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the in-depth look at this week in our lives. Finally, you can friend me as vysethebold on pretty much everything. Just give me a heads up.
And you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, currently doing Onimusha, selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, or getting in conversations with me and other patrons on Discord, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
Well, that's just prime. Well, we will catch up with everyone next week then.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.